On the Fringe with Dan RadioStyle. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. This man's been indicted. Fantastic. What's going on? A lot happening with the shutdown. We've got 6 points that Speaker Johnson has made in regards to it, and some movement in the peace process with Israel. A lot of things are going on right now. Europe actually kind of surprised me, too. They actually did a couple things that I thought maybe were actually good ideas for once. I know. I was shocked. Nonetheless, that's exactly what we're talking about here. Got a lot to get into. Let's do exactly that. Shutdown news. I got to get some sort of cool music for the shutdown news. It's just to point out the problem that the country has, frankly. This is a huge problem. This is the almost entire Obamacare premium increases paid for by taxpayers. COVID credits further shifted cost from enrollees to taxpayers as well. So the premium increases from 2013 to 2014 was 47.0%, the original Obamacare effect. The increase from 2014 to 2026 was $5,416. The taxpayer share of that was $4,891, 90% of that. Now the enrollee share is this little part down here in the bottom. The government share is this giant amount. This is extraordinarily expensive. And government-funded healthcare, I know for a lot of people, is this panacea, this wonderful dream, but it needs to be paid for. And then now that you've got the government subsidizing your healthcare, does the government get to tell you how to live healthily, more healthy? Again, it runs into a lot of interesting problems. But this creep and expense is the issue. And this, I think, is what's about to stop, which means that the average person that has to buy insurance, well, their premiums are going to, I think, more than double, actually. I don't even think double's a fair assessment. But this is going to essentially destroy the whole Obamacare plan. Right here in a nutshell. Their whole plan was to have taxpayer fund it, and we also know that a lot of people are being funded that shouldn't be. So we got a huge problem with our healthcare industry. Speaker Johnson, here's the video. This thing was like 24 minutes long. I basically recorded it at 1.25 speed and then only did his 6 points, and then he went to questions, and I actually cut it at that point, mainly just because I was like, oh man, it's already long. But what he was saying was awesome, and I think it's important to fully understand what's been offered, what's on the table, what's happened, what's happening. Part of this we did show already, I think, yesterday, but this was actually pretty solid. Check it out.
But it's always good when the facts and the evidence are on your side. And I don't want you to listen to the arguments of politicians. If you're watching at home, I want you to look at the real facts. And I'm going to try to here in a very abbreviated summary manner to present those to you. And the facts are very clear. Okay, so the first fact is by way of reminder, how did we get here? Why is Washington tied into a knot right now? Well, I became Speaker almost 2 years ago, and I was frustrated, as most rank-and-file members of Congress are, frustrated about how Congress really doesn't work that well for the American people. That's why people are frustrated about it. We don't spend money responsibly here. We haven't for many years. And the reason for that is because typically, for the annual funding of the government, it's done in a back room. Literally, there's a deal made by the top 4 leaders in Congress, and that's hoisted upon the members, usually at the end of the year, right before a holiday, in an omnibus spending bill. Sometimes the bills are thousands of pages long, and it's always said that few members have fully read it or understood it. That's largely true because they weren't involved in the process. So when I became Speaker, I've been doggedly determined to make this House and the Senate work again, to do right by the American people, to get the process, to rebuild the muscle memory, to get back to the way it is supposed to work. And what does that mean? It means that Congress is supposed to carefully deliberate over 12 separate appropriations bills every year. Why? Because we divide the spending of the taxpayers' funds into 12 categories so that everybody can go through that. And all the elected members, the duly elected representatives of the people, can come here and have a debate and a discussion. We do that through the Appropriations Committee, they're the specialists on it, the members of the House and Senate who work on it around the clock, 365, every day of the year. And then they put together a product that goes to the full body in the House and then the full body in the Senate, and they work on that together, and they come up with the most efficient and effective way that they can build consensus around to spend the taxpayers' funds. Well, we started that process back this year, and I'm so proud to tell you that we're rebuilding the muscle memory. It's like pushing a boulder uphill, but we've got it done. And we worked 12 separate appropriations bills through the House Appropriations Committee. I mean, they worked hard in a bipartisan fashion, Republicans and Democrats. They worked on it steadily. We got 3 of those bills on the floor. We debated them on the floor. We passed them on the House floor. And we sent that over to the Senate. Meanwhile, the Senate passed 3 of their own bills off the floor. That hasn't happened around here in many years. And all of that process that I just described takes a lot of time and a lot of work and effort. And our appropriators, while they were working in good faith, they ran out of time. Why? Because the end of the fiscal year is September 30th, not December 31. And so the clock was just running out. So what we did, because Republicans are in charge of both houses right now, is the responsible thing. Leader Thune in the Senate and I in the House, we sat down with our appropriators and we said, let's come up with a simple stopgap measure to keep the lights on and keep the government open so that appropriators can finish this very healthy process for the people they represent. And so we put together a very simple, clean, continuing resolution. Why do we say it's clean? Because there's nothing to it. It's 24 pages. It's the bare minimum. It just says, keep the status quo, which, by the way, for all my Democrat friends, is the Biden-era policies and spending that we haven't been able to fix yet. We're in the process of getting appropriations done to repair all that, but we needed more time to do it. So in a bipartisan fashion, Democrats and Republicans got together and said, you know what? Fine, let's extend this until November 21st. The Democrats in the House agreed to that. That was the date. We put that bill on the floor. We passed it out of the House in bipartisan fashion. And we sent it over to the Senate. Well, now we expected, I thought, that Chuck Schumer would do what he's always done. The man has served in Congress 3/4 of my life, I think. And he has given impassioned speeches over the year, most recently in March of this year, that you have to fund continuing resolutions. You can't shut the government down because it's irresponsible and painful for the American people. He was right in March. He is not right today, which leads me to fact number 2. Fact number 1 was how we got here. Fact number 2 is why are we in this mess? Why did Chuck Schumer change his tune, and why is he now saying exactly the opposite of what he said 6 months ago? A picture's worth 10,000 words, okay? This is a copy of the Washington Examiner. Zoom in on that, all right? If you can't see this at home, I just had this on my desk in a big stack, and I found it. This is published March of 2025, March 26 exactly. It's a picture of Chuck Schumer looking very upset, very angry, walking out with a box, and all the House Democrats depicted their character, saying that he's an enemy of democracy. Why is he an enemy of democracy? Because the far left base in the Democrat Party has turned on Chuck Schumer because he did the responsible thing and kept the lights on. Why? Because they want him to show a fight against President Trump. So Schumer doesn't want to be in this situation again. So he said, my gosh, he got his staff together and he got the far left wing of the party. He said, what do you want? What do you want me to fight on? So they created a red herring. A red herring is a distraction. They decided that they would pick a fight on health care. Well, let me look right into the camera and tell you very clearly. Republicans are the ones concerned about health care. Republicans are the party working around the clock every day to fix health care. This is not talking points for us. We've done it. A big part of the One Big Beautiful Bill, the Working Families Tax Cut, was to fix health care. Health care is broken in America. It's too expensive. The quality of care needs to rise. We need more access for more people, and we have lots of ideas to do that. But that issue is for debate in the next 3 months. It always was. We have members working on that. The tax credit, the subsidy you've heard about that expires December 31st, there's a lot of thoughtful debate and discussion that has already been going on about that and will go on about that. But that's a December 31 issue. So Chuck Schumer is scrambling. He has to have an issue. None of their policies are very popular, so they decided to lob onto health care. And he decided to claim to all of you that that is the issue with government funding. It is not. Those are two totally separate things. The clean continuing resolution would simply keep the lights on so that the members in the House and Senate can have those debates on health care. We were always planning, and we have lots of ideas on the table on how to fix it, but we don't yet have consensus on it because it's very complicated. We have time to do it. The month of October is a critically important time for us to get the House and Senate working on that very issue, but they're delaying it because they needed a red herring. So in his desperation, we get to fact number 3. In his desperation, they decided to create the red herring. They decided to claim that this is all about health care, which the September funding issue never was. That's a December policy issue. He tried to create it as a September funding issue. And in his desperation, they hastily filed an outrageous counter-proposal. It is a wild wish list of big government liberal nonsense that we can't do. Their priorities that they crammed into this. Now remember, a simple 7-week stopgap funding measure, the CR, that we passed out of the House in bipartisan fashion was sent over. And Chuck Schumer filed a counter-proposal. Now this is his words, not mine. These are not Republican talking points. These are the facts. 2 exhibits real quick, as I've shown you before. This is page 57, an excerpt of his bill, section 2141, where you see that right there that they want to repeal the health subtitle of the Big Beautiful Bill. The One Big Beautiful Bill, the Republicans got signed into law July 4th. The Working Families Tax Cut, we're so proud of that because it has so many amazing things for all the American people, a marquee piece of legislation. But among the most important were the reforms that we did to health care. Why? Because Medicaid, for example, is broken. Medicaid doesn't work well. It's underfunded and it was full of fraud, waste, and abuse. And we took our opportunity to fix that. And we did. So what did we do? We went into Medicaid and we said, we got to stop the waste and abuse. We got to make sure that illegal aliens are not on Medicaid. Medicaid is intended for U.S. citizens only, not illegals who break our law and come over the border. And we got to make sure that young able-bodied men who do not have dependents are working and not riding the wagon. Work is good for individuals. It's good for the communities they live in. It's good for their own well-being and for the people around them. And so we said, don't sit on your couch and play video games. By the way, also not a talking point. There was an AEI study, I think one of the organizations that polled this, and most of these young men who are not working are sitting around literally playing video games. Get back to work. So we put that in the law. And the big thing was making sure that an estimated 1.4 million illegal aliens are no longer riding that wagon either. Why? Because Medicaid had to be strengthened. Medicaid is intended for the elderly, the disabled, and young pregnant women, as I use an example, who are in difficult situations. They need the resources desperately, but the resources are being drained by people who were never intended to be there. So Republicans got busy and fixed it. We put it in the big, beautiful bill. So, back to fact number 3, I guess I'm still on. Chuck Schumer files a counterproposal and says, we want to reverse all that. Well, among the effects, among the things that he would reverse, is putting illegal aliens back on the program. Don't take my word for it. Look at the evidence. Over here at Exhibit B. This is the list of the actual provisions that would be reversed if Chuck Schumer's language was voted on and passed. Among those, it would end. See, these are the provisions, the Working Families Tax Cut Act. These are the provisions of our bill that did each of these things. We ended Medicaid funding for most non-citizens. They would reverse that, and it would cost American taxpayers, hardworking Americans, an estimated $6.2 billion. And you see, you just go down the list. The California loophole. You know what they did in California? Gavin Newsom and the team out in California? They expanded Medicaid to cover all able-bodied illegal alien adults. These men who could be working or whatever. I mean, they're not even citizens, never intended by Congress. They put that on the tab of the taxpayer. And so we reversed it. Chuck Schumer would repeal that. He would repeal those repairs, and this is what it would cost you. Do the math. I won't go through each line, but it's on the website, speaker.gov. You can pull this up. It amounts to $192 billion, $192.8 billion. So almost $200 billion that Chuck Schumer wants to put back in. Also, by the way, while he's repealing our health subtitle, he would also repeal the $50 billion that Republicans put into the bill to support our rural hospitals around the country. Why would Chuck Schumer do that? Because he's desperate for political cover. Let me keep going on this. By the way, these are enhanced COVID-era spending under Joe Biden for all this healthcare stuff. It was stolen, fraud, waste, and abuse, rife throughout the programs, and we fixed it, and they want to reverse that. By the way, this has always been what the Democrats wanted to do. You all remember, I know, the 2020 presidential election. We've all seen the video over the last week or so, where they asked every single candidate for the Democrat nomination on the stage running for president, is it your intention to give health care to illegal aliens who come into the country? Every single one of them raised their hands, including Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, and that explains a lot of this. All right. That's the facts. And I went on all the shows. I've been on all the programs, as many as I can, to just lay this out. And on some of these programs, I've been followed by Chuck Schumer or Hakeem Jeffries back and forth. Not one time have they been able to refute what they themselves put in writing. I hope that you will ask them about this. I hope that you will ask them, if it is indeed not your intention, why did you say that? Why did you do that? This is a key part of what they put into their counterproposal, which, by the way, amounts to $1.5 trillion in new spending that they want to strap onto a 7-week, simple 24-page stopgap measure to keep the lights on so we can do our work. Fact number 5, don't ask me, because here's the answer. Why aren't you negotiating? There's nothing for us to negotiate. The House has done its job. The House Republicans right now are working hard in their districts all around the country. They're meeting their constituents' needs. They're going and explaining and providing the answers, and they're trying to help them navigate through this madness. Some of our Republican colleagues, we had a big conference call on Saturday. Many of them are working throughout. They're making trips to all their rural hospitals in their district to help them navigate and access this fund that Chuck Schumer is trying to take away. Republicans are on the job. We want to improve health care. We have ideas and plans to do that, to fix the COVID-level madness and adjust Obamacare so that it works for more people, so you have higher access to care and the costs are reduced. And so they're doing that right now, but there's nothing for us to negotiate or to debate right now, because the House already did that. The House did its job. We passed our bill. We did the job to keep the government open, and now it's on the Senate Democrats. And that's the final fact, and I'll take your questions. Fact number 6, hold on, wait. It's just a tease. The ball, I have to finish my case. Here's my closing argument, okay? The ball is in the court of the Senate Democrats. There's only a handful of people in the country who can solve this problem. There's 47 Democrats. Well, 46 and one who caucuses as an independent, I think. I lose track. But there's about 47 of them that caucus together as Democrats, okay? Here's the problem, remembering from civics. We don't have enough Republican votes to fix this, because it takes 60 votes in the Senate to break this impasse, to open the government. There's only 53 Republicans in the Senate. We need some Democrats to be thoughtful and responsible and do the right thing. Because why? Because real people are being hurt in all these political games. As Chuck Schumer is trying to cover himself and not have another series of articles like this, okay? That's why this is happening. There's a trend in New York that Chuck Schumer represents of electing Marxists. They're about to elect an actual Marxist as the mayor of New York City, the once cradle of capitalism, the largest city in America. It's stunning. And I think it's stunning to Chuck Schumer, too, because while he's a far-left politician, he's not nearly as far-left as these guys, as they want him to be. And so he's trying to find political cover. And in doing that, he's hurting real American people. Who's being hurt? Women, infants, and children on their nutritional programs that are now stalled. Veterans' health services that they desperately need and demand. Go down the list. We've got our troops, Border Patrol agents, TSA agents serving, trying to protect America without pay right now. Half the federal civilian workforce is effectively laid off right now, furloughed. They can't go to work. They don't have the money. Chuck Schumer, for political cover, decided to turn off the funds. And real people are getting hurt. FEMA services, because I live in a hurricane state. We're in the middle of hurricane season, and flood insurance policies cannot be renewed or purchased right now because Chuck Schumer's playing political games. This is real pain for real people. I can go on. There are articles written in the last 2 days. Some of your outlets wrote about low-income Medicaid or Medicare recipients, for example, who have been able to receive health care at home because we expanded that through telehealth and all that. All that is shut down. Yet people with autoimmune deficiencies who are also disabled, they cannot go visit the doctor's office. So thankfully, mercifully, they've been able to be treated at home. But all that just stopped. So people are canceling their health appointments with their physicians that is vitally important for them to stay alive because Democrats over here are playing games. We have one plea and one plea alone. We need a handful of Democrats to stop the madness, reopen the government, so that we can get to these critical debates about the year-end policy decisions with regard to the further reforms of health care. Plain and simple, that's where we are. That's the facts, and everybody can draw their own conclusions. Don't listen to the words of politicians. Look at the actual evidence and the facts, and I think the case is very clear. Yes, sir, because you're standing up. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is going to be a big fight, and a lot of things are happening that are going to really screw with the deep state, and that's how it's playing out, right? So this is they took a big swing, and I don't think this is going to work out for them at all. Republican senators say back pay for federal workers is not up to the president. Now, John Kennedy said it in a cool kind of way. He goes, "It's not up to the president." He says not necessarily committing to back pay. He says, his opinion matters, but Congress has got to appropriate the money. Now, this is the key part. And this is what Trump was talking about. The money's got to be appropriated. There's no budget yet. There's no money appropriated. So who's to say Trump doesn't come back to the Republicans in Congress and essentially say, hey, here is what we need appropriated because we've shut down and thinned down our number of people. We've actually laid people off in this absence. Now, again, this is going to be kind of looked bad on depending on what he shuts down. But if they don't need to appropriate, or if they don't appropriate money for people that have been, quote, furloughed or laid off, then they don't necessarily get paid or back pay, right? They've got to be appropriate. So that's got to be a key thing. I'm just making sure that they try to cover it. We'll see. Tucker Carlson had this gentleman on. He said 58% of the births in Texas are Medicaid births. 20 years ago, Medicaid was 3% of Texas budget. Now it's the number 2 driver of the budget. This is mainly due to illegal immigration. People come across the border, have their babies. Sometimes they go back, sometimes they don't. We are destroying our children and grandchildren's ability to have any kind of future whatsoever. We're drilling holes in the bottom of the lifeboat. Why does Texas love illegals so much? They let all this happen, and they do. Texas, you guys think you're so far along, in the right direction, but you're not. They almost got you. They almost got you. Kind of like they almost, I don't know. It's all relative. We're all in our own versions of freak. Flights around the U.S. are delayed because of air traffic control, just trying to point out some of the pains that are happening. Here's Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt talking about the same kinds of things. This shutdown sucks, and people aren't going to get paychecks.
While President Trump continues to negotiate peace deals, meets with world leaders, and celebrates the 250th birthday of our United States Navy, as you saw he and the First Lady do just yesterday, Democrats, unfortunately, are continuing to play political games. And we are now in day 6 of the Democrat federal government shutdown. Millions of American federal workers are under enormous financial stress as a result, wondering how they will pay their bills and take care of their families. If the Democrats do not vote to open the government tonight, federal workers will not receive their next full paycheck. Additionally, the special supplemental nutrition program for women, infants, and children will run out of federal money very soon. This program provides vouchers to buy infant formula, fresh fruits and vegetables, and other healthy foods for low-income families. It can be easily fully funded if Democrats simply vote tonight to reopen the government. Also, our incredible military service members who risk their lives to preserve and defend our country are now working without pay and will miss their next paychecks if this Democrat shutdown does not end tonight. The Republican-backed clean and nonpartisan funding bill fully funds this important food aid program, gets our troops paid, and reopens the government. So all of this begs the question, what is the Democrat ongoing shutdown truly about? The sad truth, we believe, is that the Democrats intentionally shut down the government and are inflicting this pain on American citizens to try and demand free health care for illegal aliens. Of course, this is an indefensible and truly radical policy to be in favor of, let alone to use as the primary reason to shut down the United States government. So the Democrats and their allies are desperately lying about their true motivations.
Yeah, and this is kind of beautiful. And I'm going to couch that with a little bit of information that's coming up in the next two slides. Trump is masterful. He knew what the left was going to do. He knew what they were going to blame, but he also knew at the same time that the verbiage was going to be in the bill. Their words would be used against them. And we have. I think Speaker Johnson's done a very admirable job doing that. So we've got these people that aren't getting paid, all right? And there's a lot of pissed off people, mostly Democrats, by the way. And everyone's pretty much under the impression that Democrats put their foot down. They dug in, and they're fighting the fight. And that's why the government had to shut down. It's the only way we've got leverage over Donald Trump. Is it? Oh, you guys are cute. You guys are cute. Let me talk about some of the leverage that Trump has. Here's one example. And think about all the people that are on the WIC program, or SNAP. Yeah, Trump is snapping all over the place right now.
As promised, breaking moments ago, more than $200 billion coming into the coffers in tariffs, and now we're learning where some of that money will go. The White House has just announced that the Women and Children Food Program will not be cut off while the government is shut down. Some of the money, as promised.
So he's going to use tariff money, tariff cash money to pay for this. Now, how does he work that? Does Congress have to pay him back if he's paying? I mean, yeah, there you go. How long can the shutdown go? Well, Trump's taken in quite a few dollars in tariffs. Billions of dollars. Maybe close to, I don't know, at this point, maybe we're getting close to $100 billion. He's got a lot of money to continue some programs, to pay some soldiers, to pay for things that really matter, that are going to get airplay. There is no leverage from the left. They literally shut down the government. Trump, the asshole, is fixing it. He's coming to the rescue for regular people. That's not going to go well in the polls when it comes to voting Democrats. So there are no votes scheduled today. Was this yesterday or today? This is today. It's Wednesday. That's right. Forgot what day it was. There are no votes scheduled today in the new funding proposals after both Republican and Democrat plans failed 4 times. Instead, the Senate is using floor time for confirmations and other measures. We're going to talk about the confirmations because there's a very interesting number of confirmations that just got pushed through today. This can be very interesting. So the shutdown's not working the way they want. But here's what the deep state's trying to do. Here's what the Democrats are trying to do. This is their dream. Right here is Zoran Mamdani. I feel like a cartoon character. Talking about there's no such thing as violence.
Sometimes we've even found as legislators, when we go into these courts, the term violent crime is even used when people are stealing packages. Violent crime is even used when people are accused of burglary and there happens to be a housing unit in that same dwelling. So violence is an artificial construction. And we have to be very clear that what is happening here with these district attorneys, that is violence. That is violence of the highest degree.
And, this idea that violence, like when they push you onto the tracks and that third rail electrocutes you and kills you. I mean, that's arbitrary. That's the only reason. Pushing you on the track wasn't violent. It was the No, electricity, that just seems to, right? Like, this is, I don't know. They keep saying this guy's going to get in. I assume because I don't think regular New Yorkers are this freaking crazy. I really don't. The poor people in New York, probably. The illegal immigrants in New York, for sure. Regular New Yorkers that actually pay taxes and work? No. There's no way. There's no way. They're going to go for Cuomo before they're going to go for this numbnut. Unless elections aren't quite covered yet. There's no way this dude polls well. And I think, I don't know what the plans are. I haven't heard anything. I've heard more about California having some luck with our elections than anything going on in New York. I just don't know. It's almost like part of us is, I think, letting New York get a little bit worse before people realize it needs to get better. And this is, by the way, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, folks, but there are a large number of Democrat Jews that live in New York too, I believe, aren't there? So that's interesting, just kind of as a side fact. If Mom Donnie wins, the gig work is up. And they're literally talking about this. They want to take away the ability to get little like side gigs, right? Like window washing, maybe playing in a band for somebody, any of that kind of stuff. Anything side work, fixing bicycles, whatever. They want to get rid of it. But they want to get rid of it under the guise of, we're trying to look out for the workers. So we're going to set up all these loops and hurdles and jumps that people have to go through. It's kind of like California, almost. That's why you can't have an employee out here. It's impossible. They want to try to set up all these impossibilities so it would be a bigger pain in the ass to use side work to get something done than just go ahead and go through a contracted, bonded service or whatever. They're literally trying to take away people's abilities to do some sort of side work, maybe even, quote, under the table work to help pay the bills. Because of what's happening in New York, it's extraordinarily expensive. And he wants to put a stop to that. Again, are these people going to vote for him? I wouldn't think in their right minds they would. I would think, like I said, all the people I listed off in the beginning, yeah, sure, they would. Not normal people, not people that actually work for a living. Suspect who ambushed and rammed the DHS agents in Chicago. Both of them have been released because they're not a flight risk. The one shot at police officers. They both used a assault with a deadly weapon, attempted murder most likely, and they're out on their own. They're out already. They let them out. They're not in jail. Nope. This is Chicago, folks. Chicago. Over 6,200 murders in Chicago during the last 10 years. 6,200 murders in Chicago over the last decade. Yes, certainly a very safe town. Safe town. No, there should be no help there whatsoever. Yeah, it's a bunch of nonsense. Kash Patel was making his rounds. He's talking about there's a lot of gang members in the streets of Chicago. Let's let him talk about it.
We are taking the juggernaut that is demolishing the weaponization of law enforcement and bringing it to places like Chicago. When I was there today with Todd, we learned that the Chicago city streets have 110,000 gang members. That's right. You heard me right. They had 1,200 shootings this year alone, 360 homicides. When politicians choose to side with those metrics and not their citizenry, thank God we have President Trump and this Department of Justice and this FBI going in there and crushing violent crime. And President Trump sent us into these cities quietly to set the stage, to set up for the National Guard, to see the success that we saw in Washington, D.C., in Memphis. The FBI has been leading the charge in every single one of these streets because we know how to gather ground level intelligence and we know how to put handcuffs on the bad guys and we know that we have the backing of this administration. And most importantly, the agents at the FBI know that they have the backing of the American people and their government.
And that is one of the key things, is because of us, the ripple makers. They know whenever this information goes out, right? The Dems put out their hot little topic, but we're right there, rippling all around them, boom, 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 just taking them out, right? It's like that old game Missile Command, right? You'd hit the little missile and make a big smoke screen, and that's how you could get multiple incomings with one properly utilized. Man, I remember I pinched my hand on the side of that rolling ball one time. I don't know if any of you guys ever did that. Man, I got a nasty-ass blood blister from that. Anyway, neither here nor there. Donald Trump, he's basically saying, look, here's the U.S. code that other people used back during one of the racial riots that occurred in Alabama. And this U.S. code, they're talking about 10 USC section 311 and 101. They also reference another section in here somewhere. I thought, 10 USC 3500, and then there's also a 10 USC 3032-4. I'm assuming that's subsector 4 or subsection 4, whatever. All of this stuff basically shows that the president has the right to use the National Guard and to pull troops from other states to use in an alternate state. It's happened before. This was the Attorney General that signed this back in the day. Trump shared this today. So we've got some issues with some of the bullshit. Let's say it. Texas National Guard troops arrived in Illinois on Tuesday. Can't wait for the next judge to say, you can't do that, you can't do that. It's coming, I'm sure. They're going to fight. Again, they go judge shopping. They know which district judges to go to. Have you noticed how there's a consistent, certain, there's 7 of them, 10 of them, not very many. They'll go down. Don't worry. We'll get them. This is just, I think they need enough egg on their face. Each one of them, all right? Enough egg on each one of these dudes' faces, and then we're getting rid of them. That's how it's playing out. Oregon governor, feds are escalating in Portland, and recent violence is from us, the counter-protesters. That's what they're saying. So it's our fault. They've been attacking this building for weeks and weeks, months. And now, because there's attention, because there's actually National Guard and stuff coming, there's a lot of people on our side of the fence that are actually starting to show up. And people are basically kind of, you touch me, it's physical now. And that's true. Whoever touches whoever first, that's assault. You're not allowed to touch people. You aren't. Especially if it's kind of a sketchy situation, you're especially not allowed to touch them at all. You can't touch them. If they're coming at you, you can put a hand up maybe to stop them, but at that point, they're already being aggressive. You kind of got the right to do a heck lot more, and that's what's starting to happen. They're using these interesting tactics, and, it's not going over well with the patriots that are out there. Many of us have talked about that before. The people on the left, generally speaking, are not really good at violence. I mean, they're good at corruption and chaos and causing damage, but not actually confrontation. They don't like that. Their whole thing's set up around avoiding confrontation. Kirsty Nome visits the ICE facility in Portland amid protests. So she was up on the roof. I think they've got some imagery of that. We'll go ahead and play the story.
In Portland and Chicago this week as the Trump administration moves to deploy federal law enforcement. Local leaders are speaking out against it, but Washington says it's necessary. Here's what's happening there.
Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem visited Portland Tuesday, warning local leaders she could send 4 times as many federal officers if the city doesn't provide additional security. She said her meeting with Mayor Keith Wilson went poorly.
And I'm so extremely disappointed. He's continuing to play politics, did not commit to any of those promises, and said that he'd give me an answer by tomorrow.
Mayor Keith Wilson said Portland continues to manage public safety responsibly, despite federal claims of chaos. He added that federal officers must meet the same standards as the city's police. Noem also visited the local ICE facility where protesters have previously clashed with law enforcement. On Sunday, a federal judge temporarily blocked the deployment of National Guard members to Portland for the second time. The White House.
It's a good story and everything, but we've kind of talked about a lot of the facts they're bringing up now. Here's one thing I'm wondering, and I don't know if this is worth doing, but I almost wonder if it would be worth doing some sort of protest, but positive people protest, right? Our side, Patriots, MAGA. Someplace a little far from here, but not far from here. You know what I mean? Like 10 miles away in Portland somewhere. Because it'd be funny because I bet a bunch of these people would leave that and end up at the other facility. Now, the people that would be going out there, though, you would be peacefully protesting, and that's the point of going there. You're likely going to be under duress. So anybody doing it, I wouldn't want like old folks out there. I think I'd want a bunch of bearded, crazy-ass, ex-military, whatever, like people that can hold their own, know the rules, know the game, and, can defend themselves. But it would be an interesting thing because you would be drawing people to a certain location and it would demonstrate. But again, the people they're going to arrest, we already have seen, they're going to come after you guys, right? So again, I don't think it's a good idea. I think this is being worked out just fine. We're intentionally going into cities to piss people off. That's intentional. That is what we're trying to do. It is. It's just the way the left works. They're very easy to trigger. And they start twitching, and then fucking they're in there, man. It's that simple. So we are doing the game. The game is happening. Netflix, just wanted to remind you guys, if you haven't friggin' quit your Netflix account, I like it though, Dan. I like to watch the fights. Whatever, find a friend. It's easier, all right? Or have them log in. At least you're not paying for it anymore. I mean, you can still watch some of the crap. Just don't have your kids watching it, that's for sure. But they're pushing all sorts of ungodly and dangerous agenda on our children and grandchildren. Again, why do kids' shows need to have kissing in them at all? This is a kid's show. Right here. Netflix called Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous. Why does, I don't remember children's stuff really having kissing in it. In fact, I feel like Karate Kid was it wasn't the first movie I saw kissing. It was just one that really jumped out. I think it was because I was finally old enough to appreciate a kiss. When Daniel-san kissed the Japanese girl in Karate Kid 2. I think it's where my Asian thing started. Guys, I don't know what's wrong, but many would say it's yellow fever. I don't know. I've had it since I was a child. I was born with it. And you know what? I've taken, oddly, I've done my parasite cleanse, frankly. And I still got yellow fever. It ain't working that. I don't know. Maybe I need antibiotics. All right? Whatever the case is. I am loving it. It's like McDonald's. Gold confirms the world has passed the fiscal event horizon. France is engulfed in political crisis. Because of this political crisis, we are now seeing France's stock market, currency, and all sorts of crap starting to crash. We're starting to see problems. Now, the rest of Europe is so far so good. But France, relative to everybody else, is crashing. Not I don't know if this is the crash, but their stuff's going down badly. Their yields on their treasuries went way down. Their stock market was hurting. Their currency hurting. This is partially why gold and silver, big time today. Folks, I telling you, I've not been lying. I'm trying to help you all understand the best way to protect yourself. Gold's at 4,062 right now. It's up 1.44% today. 4,062. It was at 39, high 39 yesterday, 39.90 or whatever. It's gone up basically $70. It's over 4,000. It was at what, 2,600 at the beginning of the year. We are literally up $1,400 year to date so far. That's a huge amount. Silver having an even bigger day. Now, it dipped down. I had to get it because I knew this would happen, but I'm going to show you where it was just a little bit ago. Right here. I took a screenshot of it. I snipped it right in its ding-ding. 49.02. It was up $1.50. 3.17%. 49.02. Silver. It's almost at 50. We've been saying it, and it's going to go higher than that. I think it's going to, I don't know. I don't even know if it's going to cap at this point. I thought it might spend a little time at 50, but I don't know. There's a lot of weird happening. I think this is like the next level. We're going to drag out this closure and whatnot for a little while. And then a month or two, we're going to see the next wave. And these waves are happening in the hopes of fixing things without breaking them. What I've been talking a lot about, and you guys are very familiar with what I've been talking about, of course, Goldco. Love these guys. These guys are great. They help you get out of this problem. You got a 401k or an IRA? Here's your chance to get out before the next wave kicks. We're expecting silver to go up at least to 80, probably higher, depending on how these moves go. But every one of the waves is still causing inflation, still destroying your buying power of your dollar. And that's the problem that most people don't see. When they look at their 401k and IRA, they see that, well, it's the highest it's ever been. The stock market's incredible. But they fail to understand the buying power of the dollar is at the lowest it's ever been, and it gets lower and lower and lower basically every day. That's the problem. Your buying power's going down, stock market's barely going up, and your buying power's going down reasonably quickly. If you look at the prices of electricity, if you look at the prices of gas, if you look at the prices of even cars, rent, you realize inflation is way worse than they talk about. The inflation they talk about is a basket of goods, and even that they've cheesed on. It used to be, I think, like a filet or a steak, like a good steak, like a New York steak. Now it's ground beef. They've literally downgraded what it is they're comparing the baskets to. The baskets aren't even the same they used to be, and the inflation numbers are friggin' huge. Every day you stay in their market with their money, you lose buying power. Gold holds buying power. Silver holds buying power. Meaning, this coin can buy me the same thing today as it could in 1930. I keep using the example of the suit. You could get a tailor-made suit in 1930 for one gold piece. You can get a tailor-made suit today for one gold piece. The value is the same. It holds buying power. You don't do this to get rich, though there is some multiplier in silver still coming. You do this to protect your buying power. You take whatever it is the day you finally purchase your precious metals, you take that buying power, whatever dollar amount that was at that time, and that's what you preserve. It's not the buying power that you would have had if you did this a year ago. It's not the buying power you would have had if you did this 5 years ago. Granted, things wouldn't have grown as quickly and it would have been a weird investment then. But when you look at buying power and inflation, you realize every day you wait is a day of buying power you're losing. And there's a lot of crazy going on in the world, and we see it every day. Don't get stuck in that trap. Do one of the only true things you've got available to you to get out of their system and to put it into something that's actually moving in the right direction. I've shown you the numbers. I've been talking about the numbers for over 3 years. I've been talking about Goldco. I love these guys for over 3 years. Love them. They've been so good to so many people. Every once in a while, I get to bump into them. And it's just fantastic to hear how they feel. You could be one of them too. Let my good friends at Goldco help you out. They got the best customer service out there. You're going to get this done tax-free, penalty-free. If you cash out, they're going to tax you and penalize the hell out of you. Go sideways with it. Tax-free, penalty-free, precious metals. It's physical metals in a trust. They're going to give you up to 10% free silver, meaning, I don't know, you got 250,000 you're moving over. You're kind of helping yourself, right? Divesting. 250,000 is going to get you 25 grand of free silver just by using my good friends at Goldco. You're also going to get a cool little collectible Ronald Reagan coin that you can carry with you, put it in your pocket, show people, whatever you want to do. That's super cool. It's collectible. It's 0.9999% pure. It's a beautiful coin. It's a half ounce. Beautiful. You're also going to get your gold and silver kits. Protect yourself. Do the one thing you have the power to control and get your money out of their hands. First off, now they can't invest it in all their stupid DEI or their stupid deep state companies. You're taking that away from them. You're pulling that money out of the system and protecting yourself. There's so many factors about this that I feel like are a good deal. Again, Goldco doesn't believe all the crazy shit I talk about, but what they do, they do it well. And they'll help you through it too. Go to drslikesgold.com. 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 Get out of that system before they get out of you. And they are going to. President Trump responds to questions on invoking the Insurrection Act.
Mr. President, can we talk about Portland for a second? Are you planning to invoke the Insurrection Act? And that would be, a very long-standing law that's been on the books.
Yeah, well, it's been invoked before, as you know. If you look at Chicago, Chicago's a great city where there's a lot of crime. And if the governor can't do the job, we'll do the job. It's all very simple. They probably had 50 murders in Chicago over the last 5, 6, 7 months. Many people were shot. And then the governor gets up and he says, well, we can handle it. They can't handle it. They don't know what they're doing. The mayor is grossly incompetent. He's at a 4% approval rating in Chicago. He's at a 4%, lowest approval rating, lower than even de Blasio had, which is hard to believe in New York. I thought de Blasio would always maintain that record, but the Chicago guy is even lower. So I think that we want safe cities. If you look at D.C., you would right now, Mark, you could go out, take your family out to dinner, you could walk right down the middle of the street. There is no crime in D.C. When I got here, this place was a raging hellhole where people would come from Canada, people would come from other places and end up getting shot. Nobody's being shot. The National Guard's been unbelievable. I mean, they are strong, tough guys. You know.
Strong, tough guys. Love it. Yeah, 100%. Portland dismisses charges against the journalist arrested. So Nick, what's his face, Sorter? He did get out, apparently. I think he's still pushing his lawsuit, and should. That's for sure. Donald Trump truth this. Sanctimonious Richard Danang Dick Blumenthal. I love his nicknames. Perhaps the biggest joke in the United States Senate is at it again. Dick lied until the midnight of his political career, convincing everyone, in particular the fake news media, that he was a great war hero who lived on the precipice of death in the jungles of Vietnam. He would talk about his life in the military in almost every speech, in particular, the death-defying dangers he faced in his many years' fight for freedom while in Vietnam. Man, that has a lot of alliteration. You go, boy. He stated that the battles were violent and long, but there was no going back. And then it happened. Blumenthal was found out to be a fraud. The soldiers of his so-called platoon came forward and said they had no idea who this guy was. He was revealed, broke down, and admitted, tears flowing from his eyes, that he lied. A whopper. One that lasted 20 years. This guy shouldn't even be in the U.S. Senate. It should be investigated, and justice should be sought. Right now, there is a congressman sitting in prison for lying about his past during a campaign. Well, those lies were nothing compared to those of Richard Danang Dick Blumenthal, perhaps the greatest phony in the history of the United States Senate. He should be allowed to speak no longer. Love it. Senate just voted to confirm 107 Trump nominees in one package. Check out that package. 107. 1, you got the 107. 2, 17. The zero's just a placeholder. Couple funnies on that one. We have a lot of things that we're going to eliminate, says Mr. POTUS.
President, have you identified programs to eliminate under this shutdown?
Oh, sure.
Which ones?
We have a lot. I'm not going to tell you, but we'll be announcing it pretty soon. But we have a lot of things that we're going to eliminate and permanently eliminate. You know, one of the things that we have is some advantage, you could say. But because of the shutdown, which I think they made a big mistake, we're able to take out billions and billions of dollars of waste, fraud, and abuse. And they've handed it, on a silver platter. And, Russell Vogt, he's a serious person, very serious person. And he's sitting there and he's getting ready to cut things. And this is something that was handed to us by, I assume, Schumer. I just don't know if Schumer has any power anymore. I look at your leadership. I don't know who to speak to. I'll tell you what, I'm getting calls from Democrats wanting to meet. I never even heard their names before.
And the problem is Democrats don't really, especially the progressive Democrats, the communist Democrats, they don't really know how to do anything successfully, right? They don't know how to run a country, run a business. All they know how to do is control other people. So they've got no solutions, and their whole thing is hold out, hold out. And like I said with the tariffs, Trump's got this in the bag. Talking about federal layoffs due to Democrat shutdown, he's got some plans there too.
How many permanent jobs are you talking about to be eliminated?
Well, I can tell you, I'll be able to tell you that in 4 or 5 days if this keeps going on. If this keeps going on, it'll be substantial, and a lot of those jobs will never come back. But you're going to have a lot closer to a balanced budget, actually.
Yeah, and that's a big part of what we're trying to do, and Trump's going to be able to take claim to that while we head into the midterms. It's going to be numerous victories. This is like everybody's going to look back on it and be like, damn, Trump outplayed them. And he actually did save money. Promises made, promises kept. Doge came in. The Doge didn't do anything is what everybody keeps saying. Well, did they? They certainly earmarked a whole lot of stuff, didn't they? Trump White House's secretive first ever tungsten shipments are coming from Rwanda. We've apparently got a sweet little deal going on with them. So, again, he's taking care of the needs of our special minerals or elements. SCOTUS skeptical of Colorado's last-ditch effort to save conversion therapy ban. It's just a really, really long article that I was reading. I actually listened to the Supreme Court today for about over 3 hours, frankly. It was fascinating. They did two different cases, the postal case and the one about the dude that was running and mail-in ballots were being counted extra days. That was fascinating, by the way. That's actually going to go well. And it's all about standing, who's got standing. I think that went very well. And the postal one was interesting. I don't fully understand what direction they're going to go with it. It doesn't sound like they're going to side with the post office, I think. I don't know. It was all over this weird word. I can't remember what it was, but anyway, we'll see what happens from all that. One thing that jumped out though of the what the hell is this one? The Colorado's effort, this conversion therapy. So this lady is a shrink. She's got a patient that doesn't want to be gay but feels gay or has gay feelings or feels like they want to be another sex, and they're trying to not be that way. They want to change. And Colorado's trying to say, look, you can't say that. We've got a law that says you can't talk people out of being gay if they want to be gay. That's it. You can't do it. But they're like, what if they come to me to try to talk them out of being gay? Like, if that's what I'm supposed to do, then aren't I helping the patient? Aren't I helping them? So one thing that Ketanji Jackson Brown, Jumanji, said, she goes, speech is a tool that's being used in a treatment like a scalpel. So she's trying to say that you can outlaw certain kinds of surgeries, and she's talking about the transgender surgeries, by the way, specifically, I think. Then why can't you outlaw shrink using words? To them, that's their scalpel. This is Jumanji saying this, that words now are like something else, than what they are, which is words. Right? This is that whole idea that words can somehow harm somebody, especially when you're coming to find this, right? And then the final thing, Kagan was saying he wasn't confident it was a good idea to leave doctors out of the normal free speech land either. If one doctor is allowed to help a patient accept their same-sex attraction, but another is not allowed to help them change it, well, that seems like a viewpoint discrimination. This whole thing in Colorado is not going to go well, and that was kind of the point of the article anyway, is that Colorado's lost every single Supreme Court thing when it's come to this sexuality stuff. All of them. The lady with the cake, just a whole bunch of them, right? Going back all the way. They've lost every single ruling. Good job, Colorado. I mean, I think California is similar. We're up in that realm as well. California's largest school district just bucked the Dems. They adopted a ban on trans athletes in girls' sports. I was shocked. Chino Valley Unified School District Board of Education President Sonia Shah wrote the resolution. She says, I authored this resolution to be the voice of our communities, to stand with our girls and protect the truth that should have never been silenced. Boys are boys, girls are girls. God made them beautiful just the way they are. It's time to put fairness, truth, and common sense back into education. I was getting chills reading this. Thank God somebody is finally doing the right thing. Somebody's finally got the gumption to stand up, at least here in California. Some other places people are doing it already. New York State judge upholds Nassau County's ban on transgender athletes. State judge is like, no, they can do that. New York State judge, they upheld it. Controversial ban that bars transgender women from girls' sports. It's going down, folks, even in the places you wouldn't think it would ever go down. I mean, Colorado's questionable. ICE has arrested 91 illegal migrant semi-truck drivers in licensing crackdowns. This hasn't been on the front burner for too long. That's a pretty good number, 91 already. That's huge when you think about how dangerous those are, those experiences anyways. So that's fantastic, right? What do we got here? Scoop. Virginia AG candidate Jay Jones cancels fundraiser amid 2 bullets backlash. Nobody's going to show up at the fundraiser. He's screwed. Nobody wants to get called on fundraising or giving him money. It's like, the guy's talking about killing people and you're giving them money? We would cancel the shit out of them. See, the left started canceling. We improved it. We made it useful. Transgender who tried to assassinate Kavanaugh has been denied being transferred to a woman's prison. Initially, he was a dude that had transgenderness or whatever. And then it seems like now he's transitioning. Prior to him going to jail, it seems, especially. And maybe that was his way of trying to get into a girl's prison because he knows he's going to get butt raped when he gets into a regular man's prison. Oh yeah, this dude's he's gonna get transgenderized for sure. Oh, you feel like a woman? You feel like a woman to me too, I guess. It's disgusting. Anyway, yeah, it's not happening. That's fantastic. Comey pleads not guilty to federal charges related to him allegedly lying to Congress. Allegedly lying. We'll see about that. And again, there's all sorts of discussions around, oh, they can't prove it. They can prove it. We can't prove it. They can prove it. Whatever. We'll find out what happens. Oh, I hope to God Pam Bondi is able to come through on this. She did a great job in Florida, so I'm still trusting on her, and we'll see. We'll get there. FBI fires agents who weaponized law enforcement against U.S. citizens, Kash Patel said. Weaponizing these are the determination after it was revealed that Bureau's surveillance efforts after the January 6 riots had extended to tracking senators. The whole team, the CR-15 squad, has been fired, terminated. This group of rot has been removed. Those bad apples are no longer there. Got Hannity. Kash Patel made some rounds, and he was on Hannity. Let's go ahead and play this. It's kind of in realm to what we're talking about.
We had Jack Smith spying on elected United States senators and representatives, and they knew who they were calling, where they were calling from, where the person was receiving the call, who was receiving the call. You have fired the agents that were involved in that operation. What can you tell us about it?
Sean, I want to peel this onion carefully. Look, they put this information, those that weaponized the FBI and prior leadership at DOJ and FBI, they took this information where they subpoenaed 8 sitting United States senators, put it in a lockbox, put that lockbox in a vault, and then put that vault in a cyber place where no one can see or search these files. They're called restricted access and prohibited access. Restricted access means some people get to see it. Prohibited access, you put it in there when you want to hide it from the world, and that takes the authorization of the Attorney General and the Director of the FBI. So not only did they weaponize this law enforcement, but when we got in there, and when I got in as the FBI Director, from my experience as Russiagate, I knew where to look and what rooms to open and what doors to kick down. And that's what we did. We found this information to expose the politicization by Jack Smith and the prior Department of Justice. I mean, just think about it. 8 sitting United States senators, phone records were gathered and subpoenaed through the grand jury process, and it was buried and wormholed. It was the hope that no one would find it. So we're just scratching the surface here, but accountability is coming. You're darn right I fired those agents. You're darn right I blew up CR-15, the public corruption squad that led the weaponization at the Washington field office. We're just warming up, but we are running our investigations to the ground. We are finding every single person involved. We will not leave a single room locked. We will go in through all the prohibited access requirements, and we will find the material and show the American public, like we have done in this FBI, more transformative and transparent than any in the U.S. history, to bring accountability to the American people. And we will work with our partners in Congress, who should be furious at the prior administration's leadership and weaponization and singular politicization of law enforcement. The American public sees what we're doing, Sean, with the stats you just read off in the beginning. They see what we're doing here to unseal the vault and show the world how the deep state actually operated. It's not a Republican fiction. This is what Donald Trump was put in place to do, and I'm honored to be his FBI director to lead this charge. And the men and women at the FBI, we're all in on this mission.
Hell yeah. Right? I mean, Kash is doing a brilliant job. Federal law enforcement and local law enforcement officers arrested 14 suspected leaders of the Rancho San Pedro gang Tuesday in Los Angeles. They're capping a years-long investigation into what the FBI called one of the most violent street crews in Southern California and a known arm of the Mexican mafia. Again, we are making progress. Promises made, promises kept. Now, this is, everyone talks about patsies. This is definitely a patsy. Sorry, it's cool that they found somebody to pin this on. I think this is the FBI that was involved with this, or is this the police? Acting attorney. So yeah, this is coming from the government. It says, today we're announcing the arrest of 29-year-old Jonathan Ritterknecht, probably, on a criminal complaint charge. What a lame-ass last name. Anyway, they're saying he started the fires. What this all comes down to, without spending a grip of time on it, is the fire originally started like 7 days before. This guy started it, okay? The guy that's this Ritterknecht or whatever, okay? He started it, and it burnt, and they put it out reasonably quickly, as they say. But because everything was so dry that it was able to get the roots smoldering under the ground. And so when a week later the winds kicked up, which we do have Santa Ana winds. It's not uncommon. People, it's unseasonable to have them. Nah, we've had them in the winter. We've had them in the summer. We have them all over the fucking place. It happens, okay? Winds get worse when fires happen. That's for damn sure, too. That just makes everything worse. But that's not uncommon. Lived here a long time. I can speak to some of this, right? But when the winds kicked up, that supposedly got all the embers hot. And then it just started the whole fire. So they're blaming... Again, this dude started the fire, and he's definitely guilty of doing that. They have him. They have his phone geofenced within 30 feet of the actual location of the original fire. This dude started the original fire. They're trying to use him to blame for the secondary fire, which was LA's fault because they didn't have water. They didn't have fire hydrants because people were stealing them. And they had a whole lot of, missed opportunities all over the place. And we definitely had numerous arsonists. There was many videos I shared during the time especially. Numerous arsonists, and of course, the infamous sky beams that probably did happen. Who knows? We had a lot of things going on that day. So it wasn't that one dude. General Flynn shares what he describes this hidden secret that is something he's involved in right now.
Corrupt us, and I can tell you, I'm involved in multiple cases right now in federal court. Okay, so this is a little hidden secret, and I'll shut up here for a second. I'm involved in multiple whistleblower cases in federal court, and the amount of corruption that we are exposing in these cases is staggering. And it's related to USAID, it's related to the U.S. Postal Service, it's related to Ukraine, it's related to the Jack Smith investigation. They're all filed in federal court. People can go look them up and
let me...
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see. A lot of crazy stuff going on, folks. A lot of crazy going on. We'll see. Guys, look, if you have a pet out there, and we all want our pets to live longer. Let's be honest, right? This even works for humans, by the way, but let's stick with pets because most people actually care more about their animals than they do themselves. This is just a fact. People spend gobs more on their pet's health than they do their own. Think about that because you have a pet and you're like, I totally do, right? Admit it. You do. It's cool. There's nothing wrong with it. You love your little animal. That's beautiful. You're actually helping them become a third-dimensional being, by the way. I've talked about this in my Law of One stuff. You're actually helping that pet realize the separation between itself and you. And when it understands that it's separate from another thing and it can actually relate from that standpoint, it actually starts to understand what it's like to be self-aware. That's essentially what the animals are becoming. Normally, they're part of a pack. They do what the pack does. They don't really think too much outside of that. When you leave the house and that little guy's looking outside the window, hopefully on a MyPillow dog bed, when he's looking outside the window, he's sad, right? He sits there and whines. People have the cameras where they record him, and then they talk to him, which is just mean. Anyway, that's getting off topic. But you love your little guy, right? Well, they've got this incredible product. And, they've got a number of products, but it's got this incredible ingredient. Coriolus versicolor. It's a mushroom. You can't eat too much of it, but what they find in the studies is the more of it that humans eat, horses eat, cows eat, really, any number of animals eat, dogs, cats, the healthier they seem to be. They've got studies that show all sorts of different ailments healing. Now, again, it's not going to necessarily fix everything, especially if an animal's really far along. But earlier on in their lives, midlife even, this is something you seriously need to think about if you want longevity in your animal. And first off, you should be looking like the toys you get them. If they're made in China, they've probably got lead in them. They probably do. And also look at the ingredients of the food you feed them. You might think it's healthy, but does it have a whole bunch of really super long ingredients? It's not healthy. It's not. These guys are all about healthy for your animal. Go to danradiostyle.petclub247.com. That's danradiostyle.petclub247.com. They've got amazing products. Now, dogs, cats, they're a little different in the big picture. They got some cookies, mush puppies. They got mush ponies, too, for horses. It's a cookie, and it's got a bunch of the Coriolus versicolor in it. A lot of dogs love these. You give them one of the cookies once every day. That's their treat. They get some of that Coriolus versicolor in them. Now, if this dog is getting older and older, this is like for younger pups, it's probably better. But as they get older and older, you might want to find additional ways to get extra amounts of this Coriolus versicolor in them, and there are ways to do that. So again, dogs tend to like the mush puppies. There's also this liver treat. They're called Mojos, and that's got the Coriolus versicolor kind of baked into some liver. Cats also have this one offered to them, or cats tend to like it as well. So dogs and cats, it's a liver treat. Same concept. It's like $18. You're giving them treats that are totally helping them get that healthy product inside of them. That's pretty incredible. Freeze-dried food, incredible ingredients. Sequoia chicken, freeze-dried. 1 pound of food becomes 5 pounds when you hydrate it. And they've got regular crunchy foods, right? Sequoia chicken and brown rice. They got the Sequoia grain-free chicken with sweet potato and pumpkin, dried dog food. They've got the special sauce for cats and dogs both. All these foods right? They're different for cats. Obviously, it's cat food, but it's the same basic stuff. The special sauces, again, if you need to try to get more of that in there, more calories on them, maybe they're losing weight. It's a way to get some extra calories, extra Coriolis versicolor in them, and you can kind of mix that in with the food, right? Give it some go. They've also got the soft food, right? Canned food. Antler sticks is another one for dogs. They like sticks, right? Dogs love sticks. They don't care. They don't care. They don't care if it's wood. Don't care if it's an antler. Here's the thing, though. Here's the difference for you. Antlers actually are nutritious and good for the dog. They break off every year and not hurting anything to get these, right? And they grow back year after year after year. And so these antlers, they cut them off, a big rack that falls off. They cut them off. And you give that to the dog. Dog's like, stick, sweet. And then it sits there and chews on it. One, it grinds down the teeth like it's supposed to because it's bone. That's fantastic. That's a win. Two, all the little bits and pieces that they get in their mouth and they eat, it's antler. It's minerals. So good for you. So good. Even if you were chewing on an antler stick, it'd actually be good for you. Like collagen and all those different kinds of ingredients are in there. This is incredible, right? So again, they got mud mints too. They got the nasty breath. Well, they got a treat that helps with the breath. A little peppermint in there, right? And then it's also got the Coriolis versicolor, as well as chill doggies. It's a treat you keep in the fridge. You'd like to go to the fridge and get something? Well, now you got a little something you can grab the dog and make it special for both of you. You got dogs, cats, horses, and people, believe it or not. People, there's pills. I just took mine this morning, actually. I was proud of myself. But they got a number of different ways to get Coriolis versicolor in you. They got coffee. They got cookies. They've also got the gummies. The gummies are yummy. I need to buy some more of those, actually. The pills are like kind of boring. The gummies are yummy. But I was eating way more than I needed. But you can't OD on it. That's the beauty. It's good for you. Go to danradiostyle.petclub247.com. That's danradiostyle.petclub247.com. And you'll be stoked that you did. Oops, I should probably have that on. Yeah, the cameras help. We've got some governor stuff going on. Jack Ciattarelli. This is a dude in Jersey, I think. Yeah, he's, I don't know, I guess he's doing well. Joyzy people, get your asses out there and vote. Make sure you get that guy in, because the other person that's running against him is a pile of trash, of course, in some way, shape, or form. Yes, we got one more governor thing. Roy Cooper's lenient crime policies get harsh spotlight as North Carolina Senate race heats up. So now all of a sudden the Republican candidate in North Carolina is looking a lot better. So hopefully, especially if you're out there in North Carolina, we need to make some noise about this one too. Make sure they keep reminding everybody that this guy literally let the person stab, right? Because the guy that got out on jail like 17 times or however many it was, and stabbed the chick in the train. Yeah, that was North Carolina. So we don't want him to survive that. Alan Dershowitz says he's going to campaign for the GOP in 2026 midterms. Totally frightened if Dems gain control. And I think he went independent recently as well, which is fantastic. California Governor candidate Katie Porter cuts off an interview after a testy Trump exchange. She just wanted to be able to control the conversation. Again, anybody that's in this state's not voting for Katie Porter, though she thinks she's going to get your vote, or that she doesn't need to give a crap about the 40% of California that actually voted for Trump, which was kind of the problem. This chick's a pile of trash as well. As far as governor, I know we got the dude from... Got the dude from Fox, I think, and I don't know if I necessarily... I don't know who's the right guy, but, I mean, it's Republican. Just grab the Republican candidate. I mean, I feel like... I don't know if Garvey was... No, he was running for Senate. I feel like there's one other person that's worth the trash, worth something. I should grab my book. It's downstairs, but, not right now. I'm not gonna. Switzerland bans mammographies. Mammograph? Yeah. Medical scam exposed. Now, again, that's, Paul White, Golden Eagles... his take on this, right? All I'm trying to do is provide the information that's in here, and I think that's what's important. Switzerland just became the first nation to outlaw mammography, detonating the truth behind one of the biggest problems, really, in medical history. These go way back. These have been so horribly misused in the past. I think it's kind of like colon test, too, or whatever, that prostate exam. I think that's the same kind of thing, too. I know you can catch stuff in advance, but I also know they can claim things just to get more visits, right? And then once the cancer thing starts and you actually start doing any sort of anti-cancer treatment, you almost assuredly guarantee that you're probably going to have additional problems. It's like a given. And so, again, I watched my mom die from chemo. I've got a buddy that just passed away. He never did chemo, but I got another friend that's been through chemo twice, and it has aged him beyond words. So whatever. It's a big deal, big study. And yeah, they've come out and they've just talked about how this is creating all sorts of problems. Up to 60% false positives. Like, just numbers like that are insane. Yeah, but it's better if you're wrong. It's like, no, because most of the treatments that happen actually seem to cause cancers. So there's so many bad things that are going on. 690,000 overdiagnoses where it was not that bad. Maybe it was just a small lump that was totally natural, but they went freaked out, or they poked it and then made it into something it didn't need to be. Again, just, you mess up a biopsy and you can actually spread the cancer. And that's, I think, happens in a lot of cases too, unfortunately. It's just, yeah, whatever. Trump calls off diplomacy with Maduro as secret DOJ-approved kill list has been revealed. Apparently, they've got this list of specific terrorists or specific individuals that are on the terror list now. And, yeah, he's like, all right, Rick Grinnell, get the hell out of there, man. We're about to go kinetic, essentially, is what we're finding out. So that'll be coming up soon. This is kind of funny because, you know, China's like, oh, they're making everything more than better than us. Remember, all the stuff that we get here that's cheap, that breaks 4 seconds after you have it, especially if you got kids, comes from China, right? So, again, not trying to be mean to my Chinese friends for so many reasons, especially Tiffany Meyer. She does a great job on this, by the way. But this is just kind of like, I think illustrates China's not this super tough guy that everybody wants to believe. You know, I mean, we should be concerned they're going to surpass us if we don't get serious, which I think Trump's helping us do, but they're not that far along yet.
On Chinese state broadcasts, hundreds of drones turning into fireballs and raining down from the sky during a National Day drone light show in China. The incident happening as the Chinese Communist Party marks the 76th anniversary of its rise to power. This happened last week in a southern Chinese city. Hundreds of malfunctioning drones started colliding just after takeoff. Sparks and embers rained down on the onlookers like a rain of meteorites, setting small fires on the ground. People screamed in shock. Some spectators ran for cover, while others grabbed chairs to shield themselves from falling sparks. Local authorities say no one was hurt. But an onlooker reported online that many people were hit by sparks.
Let's just be honest and call a spade a spade. These are scout ships from 3i Atlas. That's what they are. Come on, that was kind of funny. Is it too soon? Too soon on that one? Deloitte. They have an Australian version, mate. Yeah, Deloitte down there. Down under. Deloitte got caught filing a $290,000 or K, whatever they're Australian dollars, I think. Caught filing $290,000 government report with AI errors. Literally, just factual errors. AI is not as good as most people think, and certainly Deloitte wasn't wise to use them. The Brit Card Digital ID PSYOP. Needless to say, at this point, there's over 2 million signatures happening, people that are against this stupid thing. Now, again, the problem is they say it's for the children. So a lot of idiots are like, well, it's a good idea. I got nothing to hide. And those are two of the stupidest things you get to hear people say all the time, even good people. You're like, really? Like, I got nothing to hide. You actually do. You don't even realize what you have to hide because you're not even aware. It's not that you're always committing crimes. Maybe. Signal. AFD slam EU chat controls as the end of privacy in Europe. So after Germany dropped its long-standing opposition to EU chat control, leading encrypted messenger Signal issued a dire warning about privacy in Europe, with the post going viral. And they're actually talking about Signal's literally threatening to pull out of Europe entirely. This is what's likely going to happen. And then the European people are going to be pissed at their leaders. And second off, this is all about trying to control companies. And so if the companies are like, no, we're just not going to be there then. Now, they have no way to censor. They have no way to ever get back in. And their people hate them. This is coming. It's going to be awesome. But there's no way you're going to control Twitter or allow censorship or even the ability to censor an American because you're in Europe and you think what that American said is disrespectful or something. Fuck you, Fuck you, European, whoever you are. I'll just say Macron right now because you're so stupid. You married a man. EU member wants to ban social media for teens. This is actually a decent idea. It's a decent idea. We got to put in all these rules in place so we can make sure kids don't find crazy shit when we just let them loose online with the world. How about you fucking take a little control of that, huh? Just saying. Just throwing that out there. I get they might hate you. Daddy, you're the meanest in the world. And you'll be like, yeah, that's fine. I don't know. You said that last week. Probably going to say it again next week. It's cool. I love you still. Hopefully one day you'll love me again. We'll find out. One day you'll realize I did this for your good. Parents have to be parents and stop expecting society to parent their children. What was it, Hillary, that used to always talk about how it was like where all the community is supposed to raise the kids or whatever? I forget the wording she always used. So, EU, good call. Another cool thing the EU's doing, I like this. Any plant-based fake food, fake meat, right? Any plant-based fake meat that's not actual meat cannot use meat names or terms on their products. Meaning, you can't say burger. You can't use that word anywhere on your packaging. Why? Because it's not a fucking burger. A burger is beef or turkey. It's meat, not fake meat. That's not a burger. That's a disc-shaped object made from soy and other shit. You can't say sausage, can't say, what were some of the other words that you can't use? But yeah, stuff like steaks. I mean, you can't do any of that shit. Anything that implies meat, can't use it. Good job, Europe. I mean, you suck all over the place, but those two good ones. UK is not going to relax its visa rules for Indians, says Starmer. They are not going to relax visa rules for Indians. The Prime Minister is on a 2-day visit to India where he aims to promote the advantages of newly established trade agreements. Right? Which is cool that they're doing this because we got shit trade agreement with India. But, the country that took over and owned India forever finally gave them back to themselves. They get a trade agreement, but us, who's been good to them forever, and gobs of jobs that we've given them. In fact, as we'll find, I think 70% of the United States, H-1B visa holders are Indian. We don't have a trade agreement with them worth of shit, but Keir Starmer gets one. Huh. Go figure. Go figure. Egypt wants U.S. troops in this Gaza as part of the peacekeeping shenanigan. That's a good idea, right? They said it was back during, the 80s or something like that, 1982. There was the Sinai after the peninsula was returned to Egypt from Israel. Israel's been bad boys in the past. They seem to like to take over land, don't they? Isn't that interesting? There seems to be a consistent behavior there. Turkish President Erdogan says Turkey will continue buying Russian gas despite U.S. demands to stop. Again, Turkey is NATO also. In fact, Turkey's I think the only Muslim NATO country, and they've got a very formidable military. They're a very good ally of the United States, but they do get pissy at us when we go and fuck around with Muslim people, which we have a habit of doing. So, needless to say, they are a part of NATO that keeps NATO from doing ridiculously stupid stuff. And so it's grateful for them. And I love the fact that they're in tight with Russia. And I love the fact that they're basically saying, look, we're not going to stop buying Russian oil. In which case that gives Trump the okay to be like, all right, we're not going to sanction Russia harder. That serves no purpose. You guys aren't supporting it. We're not going to do it. And if you want to keep the war going, have at it, because we're done with this. Peace. Drop the mic, walk away, and just let them all sit there with big giant eyes go, what happened? Yeah, you guys go ahead. Figure it out. Trump, he kind of made a decision on this whole tomahawk thing, which is what I've been saying he was going to do. And this is all just bluster. It was intentional. It was bullshit, and the reality's coming out.
Decision on whether to supply tomahawk missiles to Ukraine or sell them to NATO and let them sell them to Ukraine.
Yeah, I've sort of made a decision, pretty much, if you consider. Yeah, I think I want to find out what they're doing with them.
Yes.
Where are they sending them, I guess. I'd have to ask that question. That war should never have started.
No, we were just going to put them on a platter, on a little stand. We bought these special little stands, and we're just going to put them on there. And just, decoration, like Christmas tree kind of. Yeah, no. Where are you going to launch them bad boys? We'll see. Ukrainian drones reach western Siberia. This is their furthest attack. They've even gone something like 2,000 kilometers on this guy. Pretty impressive. So again, Trump's point is like, we don't really need to give you this. You got drones that can make it that far. You don't need our help. We'll tell you where to hit. We'll tell you some targets. You go ahead and launch your things. Keep making those. It's good for your economy. It gives you jobs, right? There you go. I mean, that's what Trump would do. He'll just play it up. Russia meets with the Taliban, opposes the option of United States ever coming back into Bagram Air Base. I don't think we would necessarily care what Putin thinks, especially when it comes to Afghanistan. Afghanistan's like the crazy place that both our countries have just lost way too many lives and way too much money. Journalist locates Portland Antifa founder hiding in Sweden. Yeah, I don't think they talk like that, but whatever. This is them. I mean, she still looks progressive. It's kind of funny. He kind of does too. The mustache helps, I will be honest, but he's still just got that gay face, Not that all gay people are progressive, just this particular gay individual. That's all. And she looks kind of like a chick at the gym who reminds me of my sister, who, just levels of gross, right? On top of gross, I think. That's where I'm at with it. Mysterious interstellar visitor spotted above Mars. It appears as a massive cylindrical craft. I'm just sharing the data, right? This is supposedly the image, and then people have zoomed in on it, which is cool, and it's fine, and maybe this is what it looks like. But I do think that maybe the image was somewhat of a captured over a slightly elongated time, not like a click type of thing. So because of that, and it's moving very fast, it would create a cylindrical shape. And I'm again not trying to talk anybody out of anything, but see this picture here? So this is the thing they said was the comet. That's the glowy, roundish thing. What do you notice about all the other... Oh, wait, there's 3i Atlas craft all around it? Is that it? Again, people are going to believe what they're going to believe. It's cool. I don't care. It could be a UFO from another planet. I'm just waiting for more information. Right now, I'm not impressed. You guys should definitely check out that Randall Carlson or whatever his name was. That was really good. I learned a lot about comets. I kind of knew a decent amount about comets, by the way. There's actually a funny story there, but it's not worth it right now. Sad news, Joan Kennedy, wife of Senator Ted Kennedy. She has passed away, age of 89. Still, is that her? That had to have been way back then, right? My God, the big hair days. Oh, well, very sad. And finally, this is, I don't know, kind of a trip. Johnson & Johnson, they were ordered to pay $966 million in the talc cancer case. I think this is just one family. One family is getting $966 million. Again, fucked up. I feel really bad, too, because my girlfriend grew up using this stuff. Johnson, that was because they live in the Philippines. It's like you want something to dry off. You just want to feel dry for a second, just for a second. That's going to change here shortly. The second you walk outside, it's like, damn it. But they use it like it's going out of style. Probably got to keep it special sealed. Place is crazy humid, but anyway. $966 million. It's almost like E. Jean Carroll or what's the chick's name that sued Trump? I feel like it's kind of like that almost. Just like an extraordinary amount of money. But they are now a billionaire almost. Good job. You guys can invest a little of that wisely. You might be able to turn that into $1 billion. That'd be pretty incredible. Otherwise, you won't have to pay for a thing for the rest of your life, most likely. Even with inflation, you won't have to. Lots happening. Things are changing. We are making the difference. Just because a lot of people believe something's going to happen. Now, again, there's certain things I think we got to go through. But there's a lot of things that I think don't have to be as violent as many people claim they will be. Just be cautious of that. Only in that, you understand the power of your thoughts better than most of the other audiences out there. And you understand if someone's got you thinking a certain way, you're putting energy towards that. You're helping that happen. It's not necessarily going to happen because of you. Or maybe it will. Or maybe your experience of it might be more similar to that. So again, we're here to make a difference. That's one of the key things about a lot of people in my audience. Big time, making a difference. You guys with the ripples, you're making a bigger difference than you realize. I love you guys and thank you for what you do. You're making the world a better place. Where we go one, we go all. It's on the Fringe with Dan RadioStyle.